All right, welcome everyone to another fairly impromptu Mando Lessons Live. I hope you all are doing well, staying safe, keeping sane as possible in these weird times. And great to see a bunch of folks in the chat already. I'm going to zoom in here so I can read them. We got James, we got Sheldon, we got Sean Morris, we got Keel68, Wow Films, Lewis, good to see you, Mr. Cough Drop, Tom, awesome. Got Tom from New Zealand. I've been playing mandolin for a month, and you're enjoying the lessons. Well, thank you very much, and glad you're enjoying it. It's a good time to get down to business and play a lot of music. I hope everyone's getting the chance, and it's helping them keep entertained these days. Good to see you, Lewis. John from the UK. We have Mr. Cough Drop in the Paris lockdown. Yeah, it's strange times for sure. Hope everybody's hanging in there. So, I know that I haven't done these in a while, and the last one I did, there were tons of new folks, which is great. Great to see you all here. I know there's a lot of folks hanging out around their computers and phones a lot more these days, if you kind of got that kind of time. So I'm here to hopefully lighten things up, entertain you a little bit. Happy to take questions. If you got any questions, throw them out there, and I will do my best to answer them. I'm happy to do requests as long as they are in the public domain and fiddle tunes and things that I know how to play. Michelle from Michigan, Jay from Florida. That first tune I played there was The Girl I Left Behind Me. Kind of nice and jazzy. Chile, good to have you here, David. Awesome, since 2014. It's a long time now. Over half the time I've been making these videos, I think. Or actually about half, because I started in around 2008. So yeah, throw out questions. Don't be bashful. No questions too simple, no questions too complex. I love hearing what everybody's working on, especially now that you maybe got some extra time to work on or play on an instrument. I prefer playing personally. Having fun is one of the biggest things. Shannon from Utah, good to have you here. Let's see. Maybe some Irish tunes. That's a tune that's not on my website. Can't even remember the name off the top of my head. The Maid in the Cherry Tree, maybe? I think I'm going to go with The Maid in the Cherry Tree. I think I learned that on an album of Micheál O'Reilly, Queen O'Reilly, and Catherine McAvoy. Album is called, blanking on the name of the album right now, Comb Your Hair and Curl It. Nice lively Irish tune, a little bit of minor, a little bit of major. We got Robin from West Virginia. Mandolin Stew asking to cover 7th movable chords. That is a great topic. I'm happy to do that. Dean says that I moved from Maine to the Northwest. I did indeed. Spent the first 30 years of my life in Maine, and now I am out in Portland, Oregon, just in time to stay in my house all the time. Now that I've moved to the big city, there's nothing to do. But yeah, so far so good, except for this weird craziness. And yeah, I'll be back in Maine to teach at camps and stuff. And yeah, it's a nice change of pace here. Jay has a great question. How to make boil and cabbage down sound good for beginners. Happy to talk about that. So, 7th movable shapes. Got a couple options. I think the main thing, movable shapes, you've got 2 shapes that are really going to help you get these nice, compact, movable 7th shapes. One of them is 5. It can be on any fret, really. We're going to use only the bottom 3 strings, G, D, and A. Not going to think about the E string at all. We've got 5, 4, 5. That's in that particular spot on the fretboard, 5, 4, 5. That is a D dominant 7 chord. You got the C in the bass, the 7th. Then you got a F sharp as your 3rd, and then D on top is your root. So there's no 5th in this chord, but that's all right. And then, so there's your D7, and then you can move your middle and pointer fingers down 1 fret and leave your ring where it is, and you get 4, 3, 5. And that becomes a G dominant 7, B in the bass 3rd, F natural is the 7th, and D is the 5th. So there's no root in that 7th chord. But you get this sort of movement of 5, 4, 5 to 4, 3, 5. And you can just move that down to 3, 2, 3, 2, 1, 3. Let's do that again. 5, 4, 5. 4, 3, 5. 3, 2, 3. 2, 1, 3. It's a nice compact way to get through a bunch of dominant 7th chords. And moving around the circle of 5th, which is often what you'll find in jazz. But you can also use those for more of kind of like a bluesy 1, 4, 5 idea too. And that, it works everywhere. Or even on the A, and you can do it on the top 3 strings if you want. I tend to stay on the lower strings just to stay out of the way of the melody. The mandolin's pretty high pitched as it is, so might as well use the bass register to its fullest. Boil them cabbage down. I think a big thing is going to be adding in double stops. Really getting your right hand moving. So I'm just on the A and E strings, playing both sets of strings the whole time. You can do a little slide 3 to 4. Maybe move up an octave. Or down. Gives you some ideas. There's a lot of that on my website, in the technique and fundamentals section where I've got a whole series on double stops, playing up the neck, playing down an octave, slides, blue notes, all that sort of stuff over at MandoLessons.com. All right, let's see. James says, got to see Sierra Hull recently. Can fully recommend her live shows. Yeah, she is awesome. Definitely check her out once people start being able to tour again. If you haven't noticed, I haven't been posting my regular content here on YouTube for the last couple weeks. I've got a project going where, because of the whole coronavirus thing, a lot of my friends are out of work, and I'm feeling very lucky to be mostly an online educator at this point, but a lot of my friends are out of whole tours. I've had friends lose like 40 gigs overnight, and it's their main income. So I'm highlighting some friends. Check out those videos if you like what you hear. They've all got albums and projects and PayPal links, and anything you can do to support them is greatly appreciated. When everything really has disappeared for them overnight. So yeah, touring musicians are not in a great place right now. So anything you can do to listen to their music, and you get to find some new folks at the same time. So hopefully it's win-win. Sean says, jazz, 5 guys on stage, each playing a different tune. I like it. All right, Bruce from BC. Good to have you here. Just started 2 weeks ago. Enjoy. I'm glad you're getting into the mandolin. Cool. Dennis is able to sit in the sunshine and listen. It's kind of cloudy. There's a little bit of sun peeking through. My first month here in Oregon, it was beautiful, clear skies every day, which I was not expecting, but I'm not complaining either. Now it's been a little rainy. Any tips on combining Irish tunes into sets? Keys that work well, suggested number of same key, or what have you? I actually have a whole lesson on my website on putting sets together in the technique and fundamentals section. But, in general, I try to, everybody can do, I think it mostly requires a lot of experimentation. You can do things to figure out, what kind of sound you like. Some people love going from like jigs to reels and kind of uncommon chord changes because it really kind of brightens things up, and it's a very kind of theatrical move when you go from like and that sort of thing, jig to reel and change the keys. It's a lot of stuff moving at once. It's very invigorating to hear that. I tend to try to stay with particular, if I'm playing jigs, I'll play a whole set of jigs. I try not to move too far in either direction with kind of key changes. One thing you can do is go up a fifth. So if you're playing a D tune, let's see. Miss McCloud's D part. The same tune, just up a key, but so that's into Miss Thornton's. Nope, not Miss Thornton's. Is that Miss Thornton's? No. Can't remember the name of this tune right now. John Stenson's. Miss Thornton, John Stenson, kind of sounds similar. Anyway, so going from a D major reel to an A major reel is a great way to go. You can go minor to major. Or you can stay in the same key, playing little snippets here, but that's sort of more of a common traditional Irish thing to do is stay in the same key, move up a fifth or up a whole step off of like G to A. That's generally my preference. There's a much more in-depth lesson on Mando Lessons in the technique and fundamental sections, but a great question, Sean. David from West Virginia and Tricky from Texas. Thanks for joining. All right, Lewis got to see Sam Bush play in Evansville and Marty Stewart in Owensboro. Yeah, they are both most excellent. All right, Lisa from Spain. Good to have you here. Thanks for joining in. What's the best scale to use in any key? Well, it depends on the key. And it depends on whether it's a major or minor scale. I generally don't think about scales. My sense of sort of what to play comes more from learning tunes. It's one thing to practice scales that can be very helpful. But I find that if I practice scales up and down like that a lot, and when it comes to improvise, I'll end up playing what I practice, and if I've been practicing straight scales, my improvisation will come out like scales. Whereas if I've been playing tunes, my improvisation will come out a little more tunefully and melodic. Because tunes are really just combinations of scale patterns and arpeggios and different rhythmic ideas. But in general, if you're in the key of D, you're going to want to be playing a D major scale. The key matches the scale. Hope that's helpful. Tips on getting comfortable on the dusty side of the fretboard, aka the 12th and beyond. What I would recommend, I don't honestly play past the 12th fret nearly ever. Sometimes I'll jump up to the 15th fret on the E string just to get a high G, as a little flourish or something. But check out the FFCP. It stands for 4-finger closed position scales. There's some PDFs on jazzmando.com. It's a really great resource. And there's some excellent PDFs on kind of closed scales, and you can use them. Once you get these scales down, you can put them on any fret and get into that. There's also a couple of lessons on my website about both those scales and PDFs, and on kind of general shifting and playing up the neck. Cliff says, what are the mute or ring diminishing gizmos like you have above the nut and tailpiece called? I have a lesson on them on my website. I think the lesson's just called what are these, or something like that. I can't remember. The picture, the little thumbnail is of these little it's hard to make them out here. These little dampeners. And what it does, it makes it so it doesn't ring out. Because sometimes that can interfere with the music. And I have links in the description of that video, probably in the technique and fundamental section if you're searching my site, and to where I get them. There's a couple places you can get them. I don't know what they're called exactly. Sometimes they're called harmonic suppressors. I just get them in bags of 100 from a hardware store online. But I have links in the video description. Let's see. Yeah. James said would love to see Ethan guest on one of these. Yeah, if he's around, people aren't touring much, but if he's out here, I'd love to get him on. It was nice to have him in the do the tunes at home thing. Cool, Raj. I'm glad the lessons are helping out. Hope everyone is. Your family is safe and things like that, and that goes for all of you. Hope you're all keeping well. Will there be a tune in the series from Glenn? That is a great question. I've just sent out a bulk email to a lot of folks, so I don't know who's working on stuff or not. I hope Glenn, I would love Glenn to get in and do one. Glenn Loper is an excellent mandolin player based out of Portland, Maine, for those of you who haven't heard of him. Ireland, great to have you here. Kid on the Mountain is a request, definitely. Any news on John Prine? So, John Prine, unfortunately, has contracted coronavirus, and last I heard, I've just seen the public tweets from his family. He's in kind of rough shape in intensive care in the hospital. Everybody's really wishing he comes back from it. We're all thinking of you, John. Kid on the Mountain. A great slip jig with 5 parts in the key of E minor, an Irish tune. Tip down a little bit, a little more mandolin-centric. I was kind of forgetting a part there. I always get 2 of those middle parts, the 3rd and 4th parts. They're kind of similar, and sometimes I leave one out. Wasn't totally paying attention there. My focus is not always at its best in live streams here. Hello from Shelter in Place in California and Alabama and Quebec. Awesome. And Isle of Skye. Excellent. What do you use as an arm support? I've got this armrest here. It's made by Doug Edwards of Hill County String Works. It's called the McClung, MCCLUNG, all one word, armrest. Tons of folks make armrests. I don't think they're really a necessity. I got in the habit of using them. I like them, but they're just an accessory. But if you are interested in trying them out, there's a couple out there, but that's the one that I use. A request for a Quebec tune, yeah. Let's see. Here's a tune. I don't know what the name of it is. It's part of a quadrille from Jules Verret. right, so that was again Jules Verret, part of a quadrille. I'm not sure what the name is. And the second tune is a contredanse from Louis Pitou Boudreau. I don't think I'm saying his last name exactly right. Let's see. From New Zealand. Awesome. Glad you're enjoying it. Yes, noticing that a lot of Irish tunes don't touch the low G string. Is that true, or have I just not delved into this enough? Yeah, so that comes from, I actually have a lesson on it somewhere on my website, but the lowest note on, a lot of traditional Irish music instruments, whether it's a whistle or a flute or the pipes, don't go any lower than a D. So that's why a lot of those tunes don't go down to the G string. If there are tunes that go down to the G, pipers and whistle players have to actually jump up an octave to get those notes. Brian from Boston, been on Mandolin about a year. Thanks. Yeah, thanks for watching. Noticed you play part of Micah Russell's reel. I don't know. There's a bunch of tunes called Micah Russell's. I'm not sure which one you mean. Your practice recommendation tip. I can't pull it out of my head. Oh, is it that might be I play that tune a lot, and one name for it is Micah Russell's. It's also called Doonagore, Doonagore. And that's on my website if you want to learn it. I think. How fast should a beginner be practicing studies and tunes? Whatever you're comfortable with. Speed will come with time. Mostly practice on getting a good, solid. Just gonna work on something here while I talk. Get a nice, clean, solid sound out of the instrument. Don't rush things by any means. Let me just bump this a little. Change some settings real quick. Let that settle in. Yeah. So don't play so fast that it gets sloppy. I've got some lessons on my website about how to work on speed. But in general, whatever you feel comfortable with is best. Speed is not the most important thing. Awesome. Sean says John Brown's been updated to stable. That is great news. Another person from New Zealand. Excellent. Whoa, jumped. All right, thank you, Andrew, for the super chat donation. Really appreciate that. Helps me do these live streams, along with Patreon supporters and members who I know Lewis and other folks here are. Thank you so much, and the people who donate through PayPal. It's all really appreciated. Thank you all so much. Helps me be able to do this sort of stuff, so really appreciate it. Been doing anything interesting virtually? Any ideas on connecting with other players while we can't gather? There's some great stuff happening on Instagram. There's a couple folks that put together this awesome festival last weekend called the Stay at Home Festival. They kind of threw it together really fast. They raised like $30,000 for a bunch of musicians who were out of work. There's a bunch of, they were doing concerts and live streams, all from their homes. They did some workshops this past weekend on a variety of different instruments. I have been, I've been working on instruments I've been neglecting. I've been got a pedal steel right off screen over here that I've been putting a little time into. A little bit of electric guitar, some tenor banjo stuff, and then also, putting out. It's fun for me to come here and do these live streams and catch up with you all. It's hard because you can't just like Skype back and forth and be in time. But I have, caught up with musician friends and other friends on the internet with Skype and stuff. Yeah, just doing that sort of thing. Been working with some kind of play along track stuff, trying to play some jazz, keep myself entertained. Looks like let's see if I can get a little better signal going into my computer here. Seems like I'm dropping frames. I'm about out of time here, but I do want to just finish up with these questions. Wow, I got a lot of them. All right, I'll see if I can get through them here. Any suggestions on loosening up your playing? I'd go back through my beginner series, like you're saying, and really, the first step, especially if you're a beginner, just understanding that you're tense and that you're cramped up, that's part of it. Just like understanding what it is. As you play more, your body will naturally learn what muscles it needs to use and how hard to push and all that sort of stuff. So just keep doing what you're doing. Notice when you get tense and figure out a nice way to kind of stretch out. Only play for short periods of time, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, then put it down, and just do that a couple times a day. But try not to do like 2 hours straight, even if you have the time. Take little breaks in between. Black Mountain Rag. I don't know that tune that well. Hey, Have Dog Will Travel. Good to have you here. And thank you for the Super Chat donation. I saw that down below, but I'm still behind on the chat. All right, Jay Vincent from Vancouver Island. All right, going over some medieval tunes. That stuff's great. I played some early music in college and really, really enjoy that stuff. All right, a whole bunch of other folks joining in. Sorry that I'm gonna duck out here pretty quick, but I'm hoping to do these. I might not be able to do. I used to do these full hour-long sessions once a week on Saturdays. I think while this is all going on, it's going to be a little more last minute and pop up, and maybe not full hours, but hopefully multiple times a week. So I'm also going to be continuing to do. I do patron-only live streams for folks who support me on Patreon at $5 a month and up. I'm looking forward to doing those. It's a little more, I get to spend more time on questions there because the chat really flies along here. Tom, good to have you here. Thanks for joining in. Hope you're keeping, Tom McGuire, hope you're keeping busy and getting to play some music while we're all stuck in our houses. Kesh is a favorite jig. Yeah, it's a great jig. I don't think I do have a lesson for Morrison's jig. It's been on my list for a while, but it's not one that I play super regularly, so it's not always at the top of my brain. I can't even remember Kesh jig at the moment. Awesome. Lycius. I probably am saying your name incorrectly. All right, even more. Also from New Zealand. I'm glad you're enjoying the lessons. Looks like there's a whole bunch of New Zealand folk here today. That's great. Yes, I will. Sarah asked if I'll be at Maine Fiddle Camp this year. Yes, I will be there every time Maine Fiddle Camp happens this year and probably in the future. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. Broken Pledge Reel. I've heard that name, but I don't know it in the slightest. Cool. Voltaire's Hair. I like that screen name. It says, I don't even play mandolin, but stumbled on this while researching new instruments to learn. Well, I and probably most other people in this chat will heartily recommend the mandolin. It's small, it's portable, sounds good. It's easy to pick up and just start playing. You know, you can have a couple chords and play a bunch of songs under your fingers within a couple hours of practice, and you'll be off to the races. So highly recommend it. And my website has like 300 something free lessons waiting to watch, and you might, like a lot of us, have a little more time on your hands right now. Have Dog Will Travel says, can you tell us when you're doing these live chats? Yes, as I said, they're a little more last minute because just things are crazy and I'm having a lot of technical difficulties. I can see that I'm dropping frames on my video and it's freezing up. I gotta figure out. I don't have great internet here, so that's something I gotta figure out. I can't play Pinball Wizard. I don't know how to play it, and it's a copyrighted tune. But yes, Have Dog Will Travel in the future. I'm hoping to kind of have a little more heads up of when these are going to happen once I get my whole thing figured out. Do I know any Zydeco or Cajun music? I play a little backup guitar for some Cajun music, but I don't know how to play any myself. Where did I get my mandolin? I got my mandolin at the Music Emporium in Lexington, Massachusetts. About 2009? So 11 years ago. What kind of strings? I play with D'Addario EJ75s. It's their sort of medium heavy. I also like 74s, which is just their standard medium gauge. Not sponsored or anything. I do have some links in the description of some videos. But yeah, that's my strings of choice at this point. Another tune, I can't remember how Cabbage goes off the top of my head. Is that it? So into one of my favorite D tunes is the Blackrobe. Kind of starts on this big A major chord, which is it's in D, but it's got this nice little 5 chord right off the bat, which is nice. It's on my website, again, the Blackrobe. Awesome Irish jig. Kind of goes with every, out of any D jig. I love going into the Blackrobe. A nice little burst of energy. Because it's like going back to the building sets idea. It's not actually changing keys because it's in the key of D. So going out of a D tune like Cabbage, which I was not playing very well, but apparently was at least approximating the tune. You're staying in the same key, but it really goes to this. So if you're playing. Goes to this big 5 chord, gives it a little burst of energy. A reel to match the energy of Tam Lin. That's a good question. quite the same intensity there. But that tune is... can't remember the name right now. What about John Stenson's? That's all right. Or is it, what is this tune? I'm blanking out on tune names, but that's a fairly standard one, and you can try that one. Tipping Back the Corn, I've played that tune, but I don't remember how it goes. Orange Blossom Special, I don't know how to play that one. Am I American or Canadian? I'm American. I was born in close to Canada. I grew up in Maine. Trail Zeros, thank you so much for the donation. So just shot some money over via PayPal. Really appreciate it. However it comes in, helps me do more stuff like this. I'm going to call it there. Thank you all so much for joining in. And have a great rest of the day. I don't know what time it is depending on where you are. It's going to be different all over the world here. But thanks for tuning in. I'll be back with more of these, hopefully with a little more heads up next time, and hopefully a better internet connection. Thank you all again. Thanks for the support. Hope to see you all again soon. Bye-bye.